I'm currently getting blackmailed by an Airbnb host and I need your help. Nothing was clean. The kitchen was a mess. Every room was disgusting. There was not a single clean towel. Trash wasn't taken out.
For those of you who wanted to buy a new house, get ready because the Airbnb market is currently crashing. If we look at the Airbnb revenue from last year versus this year, they're almost down 50%.
Tell me why I just found out my Airbnb host has been living with me on my entire vacation in another room filming me.
That's a camera. No way. A camera in the bedroom, in an Airbnb. Hello, Mr. Johnson.
Hello?
It's one of your tenants here.
Oh, hello, yes. What can I help you with?
You have a camera in the room.
It says, yeah, it records everything.
Why would you do that, though?
It's a safety camera.
Are we witnessing the downfall of Airbnb? Are we going to take our stays somewhere else? Stick to the end for my own story time, but I have swiped and scrolled and seen quite a bit when it comes to Airbnb, so let's get into it. Hey Visionaries, A back on your screen with another one. Hope you're all well, and as you can tell from the title, this is an Authentic with Alicia pod where we keep it real and rooted in purpose. This episode is inspired by this month's theme, which is all around birthday celebrations. I know you're probably like Airbnb and birthdays, but earlier this month it was my birthday, and what I usually like to do this time of year where there's a chill in the air, I need to get out of here. But this year I actually did that trip earlier. Normally I would get out of here in November. I used to travel abroad and stay at Airbnbs with no hesitancy, but lately it's not for me. Even on my last trip to Japan, I was like, absolutely not. I will get into exactly why, so stick to the end to hear my story time. I thought I was the only one who was off of Airbnb, but when I was on social, I saw that a lot of people agree with me and even take it a step further.
Do not ever use Airbnb. They don't respect your safety. I had a horrific experience and I will never ever use them again.
The thing is, Airbnbs are not secretive enough.
There's a lot right and wrong about Airbnb. Whether you are a host or a guest, you probably have seen the mess of it all. I mean that in more ways than one. On one hand, hosts have been using it for years as a form of fast revenue, good income, sometimes even a way to come up out of their 9-to-5s or supplement their lives.
Airbnb is all the rage. Do you know that I started an Airbnb like 5 years ago? A business that did $1 million in revenue 5 years ago. And everybody's like, oh, it's such a lucrative business. It's such a good business. We got sued for $1 million.
Too many people went and built Airbnb, short-term rentals, thinking this is going to last forever. This is a short-term mindset. Real estate has never been a short-term game.
Everybody wants to get Airbnbs and make money, but let me show you all the headaches and why I hate it now. It's not even worth my time anymore. I pay a landscaper to come in once a week. Weeds. Not even turned over. I pay cleaners $450.
On the other side, guests have been using it to have a very authentic experience where they can feel like they've fully immersed in a new environment, a city, a space that's unfamiliar to them, and venture out to places that they wouldn't normally be if they just stayed in the hotel hub. That is actually the number one reason why I used to love Airbnbs. I just can't rate it anymore, and I'll get into that later in this episode. The biggest thing that Airbnb speaks to when it comes to authenticity is seeing the evolution of something over time. An app, much like a person, has to change with the times and with the demands, and I love to see that Airbnb is shifting from stays to providing experiences. I know in this economy, the number one thing on everyone's mind is the cost, and back in the day, Airbnb used to be way cheaper than a hotel. That is not the case. In fact, the last time I looked, Airbnbs were more expensive than hotels with less amenities. Where do you do that at? Cue the clip.
Airbnb's downfall is quite simple actually. It's because y'all deviated from y'all original business model, which was to be cheaper and more convenient than hotel. Keep this in mind, you can get into a really fancy hotel for less than $200 a day.
Not this man saying he could stay somewhere nice for $200. That can't be in Canadian dollars. Ain't no way. I'm sure by now you've probably heard about the horror stories on both sides. Hosts that have dealt with some nasty people, and I swear some of you guys are telling on yourself. When you say you don't like to clean on vacations, just say you don't like to clean in general, because the state you leave some of these places in, you can't convince me that you got on a plane, went to a brand new place, and just suddenly forgot to clean up after yourself.
Okay, so this is one of my Airbnbs in Nottingham, and this is typically what it looks like before all of the guests check in. These guests, which we had decided to throw a party inside the property. They moved all of the furniture. They even put furniture outside.
Now, on the other hand, a laundry list in every sense of the word is a little bit intense. Giving people chores to do when they're supposed to be vacationing, I think that comes from a place of trauma.
Starting to really understand why people are getting frustrated with Airbnb. As an example, we booked a house with this beautiful pool here, and the day before we checked in, we got a message from the owner saying that it's $109 extra per night just to heat the pool. Now, we also got a notice the day before we checked in saying that if we check in late, we're going to be charged up to $100 in a service fee for their assistant. Now, on top of the reservation, we are also paying a $320 cleaning fee for this Airbnb, but upon checkout, I'm getting a message saying I need to empty every single garbage bin in this house, put it all together, and take it out. So now I just feel like I'm getting nickel and dimed, and it feels like a hotel is becoming a more and more appealing option.
I was so flabbergasted, I didn't even take proper videos. When I pulled up to the front of the home, it was filled with trash and smelled so bad. I walked in and everything seemed cool, except a bad smell I thought was coming from the outside garbage, but no. The inside garbage was filled with spoiled food and dirty diapers. It gets worse. I stripped the beds to wash the sheets, and not only did I find one stained dirty mattress, but there was another mattress that was flipped. We flipped it back on the right side and it had what looks like blood stains on it.
If you are a host or a guest that's dealt with crazy cleaning situations, leave them down below. Some of the cleaning fees I paid are a little crazy, no word of a lie, especially since I do clean up after myself. In the very first Airbnb I stayed at in Paris, we pulled the sheets off the bed and put them in a pile in the corner of the room. We made sure all the dishes were washed that we used, and the lady wrote a long email thanking us. I was like, geez, who was staying in your house if they couldn't even do those two things? Oh, it's just the bare minimum. Everyone's idea and definition of clean is clearly so different. There's a huge difference between trashing a place and becoming the Molly maid while you're on vacay. Within reason, it makes sense because it is someone's place that they own or apartment that they're renting to you, which you're not really supposed to. A lot of leases now say no Airbnbs. I remember when I moved into this place, it was right there and I'm like, who's trying to rent out? Okay.
I run Airbnbs in Toronto and Ontario. I've been doing so for the past 10 years. So many people come on here and tell me, that's illegal, you can't do that. It's not illegal, yes you can. You can co-host on as many properties as you want in Ontario. If you do have a short-term rental permit.
We've also seen multiple countries have revolt, literal petitions and protests over Airbnbs because they raise the cost of living in those respective cities. And I really feel for those people, which is another reason why I don't stay at Airbnbs anymore. My short stay shouldn't be the reason why someone can't live comfortably in their own city. It just shows you that everything comes at a cost and we all impact, influence, and affect one another. So far we discussed that it's not even cheap like it used to be, which kind of reminds me of this word that I really love lately, the enshittification, because so many tech companies and apps do that to draw you in. Commodifying convenience has become a crafty way to fuel consumerism. It's kind of crazy when you think about the cycle.
When in fact they're just charging the owners the service fee and the owner's gonna go back and just raise prices, so it's about the same. We'll see how this model's gonna work out.
And joke's on Airbnb, because I stopped booking with Airbnb years ago. Airbnb has turned into a greedy scam for the company and the hosts. The amount of fees that y'all have tacked on and the fact that you can't get any privacy, hosts are just out of control.
Behind the sharing resources gig economy are people, and people are particular. When you go to a hotel, there's standards in place. When you go to someone's place, well, roll the clips.
You're not going to want to stay in a B&B ever again after watching this video. My name's Jason, I own a cleaning company. We got an email from the management company. In this email, they'd informed us that they have a procedure they'd like us to follow in order to save money on turnover cleans. Instead of stripping the beds, washing them and remaking them, they just wanted us to take the linen off, flip it around so that the top was now at the bottom in order to make it look like they were cleaner.
I'm an Airbnb host, I'm getting absolutely by Airbnb. 11-night booking, our guests arrived and within hours of being at the home, they were allowed to leave. Airbnb let them off free and clear and we did not receive any payment. Try to go above and beyond for all of our guests. We leave wine, we leave fresh flowers, we completely stock all the bathrooms. A lot of construction that happens in the area. And so what that means is sometimes there's rodents, mice, that type of thing.
When I hear some of the requests people have, I'm just like, this is so unreasonable. Since 2007, with the very first air mattress in San Francisco, Airbnb has been a digital disruptor, but much like other apps in the sharing resources economy, it has definitely thrived off of being so cheap for what it is that now when we see what the real value and price is, we can't really contend with it. Wrapping it up with some titillating tales of the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to my stays at Airbnb. My very first stay was in Paris in 2011, and that was top tier. I have never had an experience like that since. before then, it's just been downhill since then. I've had some okay stays, but nothing has been as amazing as that stay. We were able to go to a boulangerie and try really good pastries. We were able to walk through small side streets in the arrondissement. I can't say it. Arrondissement? No. The different districts. We were able to wander the small streets in flâner, discover different things that we wouldn't have had we not stayed in that arrondissement. My French is trash. And that is the one thing that I can say that I've loved about all of my stays, although sometimes that's where it ends. I've had some tricky times literally getting into Airbnbs. There's two I can think of. We were locked out for over an hour where the key didn't work or was on a hook of keys where they didn't tell us which was which. We just kept trying it and fidgeting for 45 minutes in Spain. That was not a good way to start my Euro trip. Struggling to get into the Airbnb in Lisbon and also lock the door was not on my bingo card. When we messaged them, I mean, it was late. They did say that they've been meaning to fix it for a week. A week? The way that door looked raggedy, it's been 100 weeks. That's a safety issue. Now, that's just getting inside some of them. Shortly after I went to Paris, I was also in Miami, and I thought, you know, I got this. I stayed in an Airbnb. Whoop. I asked for early check-in. He said it'd be $100 US. Okay, I'm Canadian, so do that exchange. I remember telling him, you know what, actually, because it's taking us so long to get out of the airport, don't worry about it. When we got there in person, he was still cleaning, so he wasn't even done, and we were half an hour after the regular check-in, and he still wanted me to cough up the cash. I paid him because I didn't want to go back and forth, but that stays rent-free in my mind 11 years later. When we did the walkthrough after he left, we realized that there was a wooden splint keeping the window that was on the ground floor closed. And if you know how Miami gets down, and we were only a couple streets away from where it really gets froggy, I was not comfortable at all. Then in Marrakech, the man who gave us the tour of the house was not the owner of the house, and he asked us to cough up $150. I don't remember why. My friend paid it, and I was so perplexed because it wasn't a cleaning fee, and I still don't know to this day what that cost was for. That place was beautiful. It was 3 floors, and the terrace was to die for. Did I mention when we were in Lisbon to get in to not be able to lock in? We also had to go down in an elevator at 11 o'clock at night. It was one of those old horror movie type elevators, but it was so weird because when you open it up, Portugal's not a real place. It's so magical. Once you go down, you actually still end up above ground. And the view was so amazing. I have seen dirty cutlery. I know it's slightly toxic, but I prefer the smell of bleach than the smell of somebody. So when I enter a new Airbnb, I want it to smell sterile, like hospital sterile. Musty towels in Lisbon. After that, I said never again. And that was the last time. Madrid was really good. The place was modern. The only thing was the walls were paper thin, so I could hear everything in the mornings, and my friend wakes up hours before me. I was jet lagged, so I needed a little more ZZs. I could hear everybody outside of the unit as well. This time in Japan, I said no Airbnbs. My friend still showed me a few listings, and I was, why would we even stay there? They don't come with any security amenities or anything. And listen, I did not think in this lifetime I'd need to learn the Japanese word for bedbugs. If you want to know more about that, vlog over here. The one thing that's always stood out to me with every single stay is how welcoming the hosts have been. When they show us around to the cafe around the corner, or tell us what's happening tonight in the city, or recommend different things that we can do. It adds a nice little touch to give us more of an authentic experience during our stay, which is why I'm so excited to see how Airbnb experiences are gonna go. Compared to what I've seen on social, I actually haven't had it that bad, so I'm glad, but that was the extent of my experience with Airbnb. I'll leave it for everybody else, but you can let me know if you are more of a hotel person like me, or you're sticking it out with your Airbnb. Until next time, stay blessed, stay authentic.